Hi, Star Trek is an American science TV fiction series. In its fictional universe, there is the prime directive that Starfleet members must not interfere with the natural development of alien civilizations. Generally, space travelers don't make their first contact with developing civilizations before they invent interstellar travel technology for themselves. But there was no such thoughtful consideration when different civilizations on Earth encountered. Thanks to swift modernization, Europe surpassed other worlds in the economy and military strength. Through conquest and colonization, they extended their sphere of influence over the world. As a result, in the late modern period, the balance of power in Europe became to directly affect the global politics. This period advanced in line with the two historic revolutions. When the French Revolution occurred in 1789, Britain was in the early phase of the Industrial Revolution. European states formed coalitions against France to stop the spread of liberal democratic politics. But in 10 years, Napoleon established French dominance over them, except Britain. To weaken and isolate Britain, Napoleon prohibited trade between Europe and Britain. However, the continental system backfired as the sanction caused economic damages to both France and European states. Besides, Napoleon's punitive invasion of Russia ended in a military disaster. Following the Napoleonic Wars, the European powers tried to avoid severe conflict through so-called the Congress system. The first phase of such consensus continued until 1848, known as the Year of Revolutions. After the unification of Italy and the formation of the Prussian-led German Empire, the second phase commenced. While such a delicate peace process was underway, some states stealthily exchanged pledges of mutual support in case of war, the Triple Alliance and the Triple Entente. These pacts were signs of latent conflict that could escalate into extensive warfare soon or later. In Eastern Europe, the decline of the Ottoman Empire resulted in the outbreak of violence. Through uprisings and wars, Greece and Eastern European states gained independence or autonomy. The great powers never hesitated to engage in the situation so that they could secure their interests from the dismantling sick man of Europe. Besides warfares, horrific crimes also followed, such as the ethnic cleansing of Circassians and the Armenian genocide. The Qing Empire, another Eastern giant, faced European pressure too. British Navy easily defeated the Qing forces in the two Opium Wars and compelled the government to grant free trade and concessions. Hong Kong became a British colony in this period. Along with such external threats, rebellions and natural disasters drove the empire into severe instability. In 1895, the Qing dynasty felt bitterly humiliated by the defeat in the war against Japan. The first Sino-Japanese War was a signal of power shift in East Asia. Japan was the only non-Western state that succeeded in early modernization and joined colonial powers. The Meiji Restoration in 1868 was a turning point that they initiated rapid industrialization and modernization, ending centuries of military government rule. Following the trail of other advanced states, the Japanese Empire began to move for colonial expansion. While the slave trade was gradually abolished in the 19th century, Europeans began to explore African inland. To control natural resources and political dominance, the European powers jumped into the colonization of Africa. Through the framework of the Congress system, the partition of Africa was implemented without warfare, but no one cared about the consequences of such arbitrary demarcation, which would become the territorial base of African states later. It was only Ethiopia and Liberia who remained independent during the scramble for Africa. The delicate power balance in Europe allowed the United States to enjoy favorable circumstances where they could pursue economic growth and territorial expansion in tranquility. But the controversy over slavery caused the American Civil War. The war resulted in the abolition of slavery, but it had to take another decade for social reconstruction. Powered by naval and industrial superiority, Britain effectively expanded its colonies over the world. The British government established direct rule of India. More kingdoms in Asia and Africa were incorporated into the empire. Australia, Canada, New Zealand gained political autonomy. During the Victorian era, the United Kingdom became the largest empire in world history, on which the sun never sets. In the late modern period, the imperial powers were able to focus more on global expansion by managing the balance of power in Europe. But it was based on a very fragile consensus, which could turn into upheaval by a small rupture. And the worry became a reality. I'm going to talk about the Great Turbulence in the next video. If you have any idea or suggestion on my video, please leave your comment. Thank you for watching.